Ladies and gentlemen, there's a power within you far greater than any fear, any doubt, or any challenge you face. You may not feel it right now. You may feel uncertain, anxious, or even defeated. But let me assure you, deep within your spirit lies a quiet, indestructible strength waiting to be awakened. You were not born to shrink back in the face of life. You were born to rise with courage, to stand with confidence, and to live boldly with purpose. Life will test you, yes. It will whisper that you're not enough, that you can't do it, that the obstacles are too high. But those are not the voices of truth. The truth is, you are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more capable than you can imagine. When you learn to lean on faith, to believe in your God-given potential, something incredible begins to happen. Your doubts begin to shrink, your fears begin to fade, and you start to walk tall. Not because the road is easy, but because you are walking with the one who strengthens you. Today, I'm going to show you how to unlock that inner power. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now, because now is the time to stop holding back. Now is the time to break free from fear. Now is the time to live with the courage and confidence that has always been yours. Courage doesn't come from mere willpower or personal strength. True courage is born from a deeper place. It comes from faith. When you believe in a higher power greater than yourself, greater than your fears, greater than any challenge life can throw your way, then you begin to discover a kind of courage that is unshakable. The storms of life may come, the winds may howl, and the road may feel steep. But when you know deep within your soul that God is with you, you walk with a quiet strength that no storm can steal. Faith is not just a word, it is a power. It's the invisible strength that holds you up when everything around you tries to push you down. It's what whispers to your heart, you are not alone, you are not powerless, you are not forgotten. When you start each day with faith, you're saying to the world, I know there are troubles out there, but I also know I don't face them alone. And that simple truth, that spiritual assurance, is what gives you the courage to rise again and again, no matter how many times life tries to knock you down. You see, fear thrives in separation. When you think you're on your own, fear multiplies. But when you realize you are walking hand in hand with a divine power that created you, loves you, and walks beside you, then fear begins to lose its grip. You don't have to be the strongest. You don't have to have all the answers. You simply have to believe that there's a force for good that is greater than your fear, and that belief, that deep inner trust, is where real courage begins. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just a small voice that says, I will keep going because God is guiding me. It's in the moments when you feel weak but take the next step anyway. It's when you want to give up but whisper a prayer instead. That's the kind of courage that changes lives, and that kind of courage comes from faith, not in yourself alone, but in the one who made you for more. So when fear creeps in, and it will, don't fight it with anxiety, fight it with faith. Say to yourself, God is with me, He will never leave me, therefore I will not be afraid. Speak those words until they become the truth you live by. Because once you start believing that, nothing can hold you back. With faith as your foundation, you become brave, not because the world is safe, but because your spirit is strong. And from that strength will rise a courage that leads you forward, one faithful step at a time. Confidence begins not in your circumstances, not in your appearance, not even in your accomplishments. It begins in the mind. Your thoughts are the seedbed of your destiny. What you think, you become. What you hold in your mind day after day eventually takes root in your heart, and from that root grows either confidence or defeat. It is a simple law, but one we often overlook. The mind is powerful, and whatever you feed, it will determine the strength of your confidence. If you fill your mind with fear, worry, and self-doubt, then those thoughts will take over and pull you down. But if you feed your mind with hope, faith, belief, and strength, you'll begin to rise into the confident person you were always meant to be. You have to take control of the conversations happening in your head. You must guard your thoughts like a gatekeeper. When a negative thought comes, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, what if I fail? Don't accept it. Don't entertain it, reject it, and replace it. Say instead, I am able, I am equipped, I have everything I need to succeed. I can do all things through the strength God gives me. Say it until it becomes real in your soul. Say it even if you don't feel it yet, because the mind believes what it hears repeatedly. Confidence grows when you start thinking victory instead of defeat. Instead of replaying past failures, begin to replay times when you were brave, when you did the hard thing, when you rose above your limits. Visualize yourself succeeding. Picture yourself walking into that meeting with calmness and strength. Picture yourself standing on that stage, speaking with clarity and boldness. Your imagination is not just for daydreaming, it is a tool. And when used with purpose, it becomes a builder of confidence. Don't wait until you feel confident to think confident thoughts. That's backward. First think it, then feel it. First believe it, then live it. Confidence doesn't show up out of nowhere. It grows from disciplined, positive, powerful thoughts that are chosen every single day. Just like a muscle, your mind gets stronger with exercise. Each time you choose a thought of faith instead of fear, of courage instead of doubt, of victory instead of failure, you build the inner strength that becomes unshakable confidence. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the master of them. You were created to think strong, victorious thoughts. You were made to fill your mind with truth, with promise, with possibility. And when you do that day after day, confidence will no longer be something you hope for. It will become something you live from. Your thoughts are your power. Use them to lift yourself. Use them to rise. Use them to become all you were destined to be. Fear has a way of growing in the dark. The more you avoid it, the more powerful it seems. The more you run from it, the more it chases you. But here is a life-changing truth. Fear shrinks when you face it. It loses its grip when you confront it with faith and action. You don't have to wait until you feel fearless to move forward. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward in spite of fear. It's doing the thing you're scared to do, shaking, sweating, doubting, but doing it anyway, because something inside you knows that growth lies on the other side of fear. When you avoid what you're afraid of, you give it power. You say to your fear, you are bigger than me. But the moment you stop running and start facing that fear, something shifts. You take the power back. You stand up and say, I may be afraid, but I won't let fear control me. That single act, choosing to confront instead of retreat, is the birthplace of real courage. You don't have to conquer the whole mountain at once. Just take one step. Just face one small fear today. That one decision will begin to build a new kind of strength inside you. Courage is built through action, not by talking about it, not by waiting for the perfect moment, not by hoping fear disappears on its own. You grow brave by doing the very thing that scares you, again and again, until it no longer controls you. And here's the miracle: the more you act, the less fear can influence your life. You'll begin to see fear for what it really is, just a shadow, just a voice, just an illusion. Fear is loud, yes, but it's often empty, and the moment you move through it, you'll realize it wasn't nearly as strong as it pretended to be. Start small. If speaking up scares you, say one sentence. If change frightens you, make one decision. If rejection holds you back, take one bold step forward anyway. With every step, you'll prove to yourself that fear doesn't define you. You will begin to feel a quiet confidence rise, a strength that doesn't come from being perfect, but from being persistent. Every fear faced is a layer of courage gained. You will never live fully if you live by fear. Life begins the moment you decide to step into what scares you. That's where growth happens. That's where miracles begin. Don't let fear write your story. You have the pen in your hand. You have the power of choice. So choose to face it. Choose to rise. Choose to act bravely, boldly, faithfully. And soon you'll look back and realize that the thing that once terrified you became the very thing that made you stronger, wiser, and free. Every day you wake up, you are given a choice. You can either speak words that lift you or words that limit you. You can affirm your strength, or you can agree with your weakness. The words you say to yourself matter more than anything anyone else will ever say to you. Why? Because your words are seeds. Every time you repeat a thought or a phrase, you plant a seed deep in your subconscious mind, and whatever you plant, whether it's hope or fear, strength or defeat, belief or doubt, will eventually grow and shape the way you live. That's why it is absolutely vital that you affirm the positive daily. Not just when you feel good, not just when life is going smoothly, but especially when you feel low, lost, or unsure. Those are the moments when your words matter the most. When doubt knocks, you answer with truth. When fear whispers, you speak back with faith. Because the more you affirm what is right and powerful and good, the more you begin to believe it. And once you believe it, it starts to show up in how you carry yourself, how you think, and how you live. Say this with me: I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's not just a verse, it's a declaration. A reminder that your strength doesn't come from your past, your position, or your resources. Your strength comes from a higher source. It comes from the Spirit of God within you. And when you affirm that truth every day, you're building a fortress of courage around your mind. You're programming yourself for resilience, not retreat. Don't underestimate the power of a simple affirmation. I am strong. I am courageous. God is with me. I am becoming more confident every day. These are not just words. They are weapons. They break down strongholds of negativity. They silence the voices of fear. They shift the atmosphere of your life from doubt to belief. And the more you say them, the more real they become. If you want to change your life, start by changing your language. Speak life over your future. Speak strength into your struggles. Speak peace into your soul. Do it again and again until the words take root and your life begins to align with the truth you've been declaring. The mind is like a field, and affirmations are the seeds. What you plant today, you will harvest tomorrow. You don't need to wait until you feel strong to speak strong words. Speak them now, even if your voice trembles. Speak them now, even if your faith is small. Speak them until they grow inside you and become your reality. Your words create your world, so speak power, speak victory. Speak with the authority of someone who knows that they are never alone, and watch as confidence rises in you like the morning sun. Confidence doesn't come all at once. It doesn't appear like lightning from the sky or fall into your lap overnight. Confidence is something you build one small victory at a time. Just like climbing a staircase, you don't leap to the top. You take it step by step, and each step, each little success, each challenge you face and overcome adds another layer to the foundation of your self-belief. If you want to feel confident in big moments, you must first learn how to show up in the small ones. It's in those little wins, the ones most people overlook, where true confidence is born. You don't need to conquer the world to start believing in yourself. Start with what's in front of you. Maybe it's getting out of bed when you don't feel like it. Maybe it's making that one phone call you've been putting off. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting or showing kindness when you're tempted to stay silent. These seem like small things, but they're not. They are the training ground of the spirit. Every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you do what's right instead of what's easy, you're strengthening your inner core. You are proving to yourself that you are capable, that you are dependable, that you are strong. And the beauty of small wins is that they build momentum. One success creates the energy for the next. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You take one step, you realize you didn't fall. Then you take another, and suddenly, what once looked impossible now feels within reach. The journey of 1,000 miles really does begin with a single step. And your job is not to figure out the entire journey today, but simply to win the step you're on. It's easy to compare yourself to others and feel like you're behind. But comparison is the thief of confidence. Don't measure your progress against someone else's path. Measure it against who you were yesterday. Did you grow? Did you try? Did you show up with a little more faith than the day before? Then that's a win. Celebrate it. Let it count. Let it feed the belief that you are becoming stronger every single day. Small wins are powerful because they're achievable. They keep you moving. They teach you that progress is possible. And when you string them together, day after day, week after week, you create a new story for yourself, a story of perseverance, of growth, of rising higher than your fears. That story becomes your identity. And from that identity, real confidence flows, not a fake, loud kind of confidence, but a quiet, steady strength that no one can take from you. So today, don't wait for the perfect moment or the big breakthrough. Look for a small challenge you can meet, face it, conquer it, then do it again tomorrow. Brick by brick, you are building something unshakable. You are building the kind of confidence that lasts. The pictures you hold in your mind shape the direction of your life. If you see yourself as weak, you will act weak. If you see yourself as timid, you will shrink back. But if you begin to picture yourself as bold, strong, and victorious, then your actions will start to follow that image. The mind is a powerful tool, and the images you feed it daily become the foundation for your beliefs. That's why it's so important to visualize yourself not as the person fear says you are, but as the person faith says you can be. See yourself walking into that room with your head held high, shoulders back, voice steady. See yourself taking on that challenge, not with hesitation, but with power and grace. Picture yourself standing on the stage, sharing your heart, your vision, your voice, and doing it with clarity and confidence. Picture yourself winning. Picture yourself overcoming. Picture yourself living boldly. Because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, what it sees repeatedly it believes, and what it believes it begins to act on. If all you ever picture are the things that could go wrong, then fear will lead your life. But if you choose instead to picture things going right, to imagine yourself rising, thriving, winning, then you begin to rewire your mind for victory. You begin to attract the strength and courage to match the image you're holding. Every great achiever you've ever admired used the power of visualization. They saw themselves succeeding long before the world did. They won in their minds before they ever stepped into the moment. You have that same power. You can use it for doubt or for confidence. You can use it to hold yourself back or to launch yourself forward. The choice is always yours. So choose to see yourself the way your Creator sees you, capable, equipped, courageous, and full of potential. See yourself rising out of fear and into faith. See yourself not defined by your past, but called into a new future. When you wake up in the morning, take a moment to close your eyes and see the day ahead, not as a battlefield, but as a ground of opportunity. Picture yourself handling that conversation with grace. Picture yourself walking through the door with confidence. Picture yourself speaking the words that need to be said. The more clearly you see it, the more naturally you will live it. And when doubts creep in, when fear tries to cloud your mind, go back to the image. Hold it in your heart. Let it be your guide, because the mind will follow the image and the body will follow the mind. So hold high images. See a bold, victorious, unshakable version of yourself, and then live it. One step, one thought, one brave action at a time. You were never meant to do life alone. The people you surround yourself with can either lift you higher or pull you down. They can either speak life into your dreams or drain the very energy from your soul. If you want to build unshakable courage and confidence, you must intentionally surround yourself with encouragement. Choose voices that remind you of your strength. Choose company that sees your value even when you don't. The truth is, confidence often grows in the soil of connection. We borrow belief from others when our own runs low. We draw courage from the strength of those who remind us who we really are. When you're surrounded by people who believe in you, you begin to believe in yourself. Their words become mirrors, reflecting back a version of you that is stronger, bolder, more capable than you realize. And that reflection begins to take root in your heart. But if you're constantly around negativity, criticism, and doubt, it becomes almost impossible to rise. You cannot water your soul in a desert of discouragement. That's why you must protect your environment, be around people who speak truth, who encourage you when you fall, and who cheer you on when you rise. Seek out stories of triumph. Read books and listen to messages that stir your spirit and light your fire again. Watch people who overcame the odds, who refused to give up, who rose from nothing and stood in victory. Their stories remind you of what's possible. Their words breathe life into your weary places. When you hear someone say, "I've been there too, and I made it," something inside you shifts. You begin to think, if they can, maybe I can too. And that thought is powerful. That thought is the beginning of change. Encouragement doesn't always come from grand gestures. Sometimes it's a simple text from a friend, a kind word from a mentor, a moment of honest conversation. It might be a podcast that speaks exactly what your heart needed to hear, or a song that lifts your eyes just when you were about to give up. These moments matter, these words matter, because every drop of encouragement fills the tank of your soul, one moment at a time, and don't just seek encouragement. Be an encourager. When you lift others, you rise too. When you speak hope to someone else, your own hope grows. That's the mystery of encouragement. It multiplies when it's shared. So build a circle where belief flows freely. Let your life be a space where courage is contagious, where confidence is shared, and where no one has to walk alone. You are not weak for needing encouragement. You are wise, because even the strongest need support. Even the brave need reminders. So surround yourself with people, stories, and words that fan the flame within you. And watch how courage begins to grow, not just in your heart, but in the hearts of everyone around you. There is a source of strength that never runs dry, a well of peace and power that is always within your reach. It doesn't come from the world around you. It comes from the presence of God within you. That source is prayer, not just a ritual, not just a moment of quiet words, but a living connection to the one who created you, knows you, and walks with you. When you begin to pray daily, not just in times of crisis, but as a way of life, you begin to tap into a power far greater than anything fear can throw at you. Prayer is not just asking, it is aligning. It is the moment when your heart realigns with God's strength, God's wisdom, and God's peace. When you step into prayer, you are no longer standing alone. You are standing in the presence of divine help. That's why prayer gives you courage. It reminds you that you are backed by heaven. You may feel small in the face of life's challenges, but when you pray, you're connected to the unlimited power of the Creator of the universe. And that changes everything. You might not always know what to say in prayer. That's okay. It's not about perfect words. It's about a sincere heart. It's about lifting your burdens, your doubts, your fears, and placing them in hands stronger than yours. It's about whispering, God, I need you, and knowing that He hears. You don't have to pray long, eloquent prayers. Sometimes all it takes is a simple, honest, help me. And He will, because God never leaves a brave heart without help. Prayer gives you more than strength. It gives you peace. In a world that pulls at your mind, overwhelms your emotions, and fills your heart with noise, prayer becomes your quiet place, a sacred space where fear loses its grip and clarity begins to rise. In prayer, you remember who you are and whose you are. You are not just a person trying to make it through the day. You are a child of God, guided, equipped, and empowered. The more you pray, the more confident you become, not because life gets easier, but because you become anchored. Grounded, unshaken, prayer doesn't always remove the storm, but it calms your soul in the middle of it. It gives you the strength to walk forward, to speak with courage, to stand in faith. And over time, prayer becomes your power source, your lifeline of courage and confidence. Make prayer a part of your day like breath is a part of your body. Start your morning with it, end your night with it, whisper it in the middle of busy moments. Let prayer guide your steps, strengthen your resolve, and lift your spirit. Because when you stay connected to God through prayer, you will never be powerless. You will never be without help, and you will never walk alone. Failure is not final. It's not a dead end. It's not a label that defines your worth or your future. Failure is simply a part of the process, an essential step on the path to growth, wisdom, and strength. The greatest people who ever lived, the most courageous, the most successful, the most confident, they all failed. Not once, not twice, but many times, and yet they refused to let failure stop them. They saw failure not as something to fear, but as something to learn from. Because every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson brings you one step closer to your breakthrough. You see, the only true failure is quitting. As long as you keep going, you are not failing. You are becoming wiser, becoming stronger, becoming the person you were meant to be. Don't be afraid to fall down. Be afraid of never rising again. Be afraid of living a life so careful, so cautious, that you never give yourself the chance to grow. Mistakes don't mean you're weak. They mean you're trying. They mean you're learning. They mean you had the courage to step out of your comfort zone and risk becoming something greater. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every setback is a setup for a greater comeback. Sometimes the fall is what teaches you how to fly. Sometimes the detour is what leads you to your true destination. And sometimes the closed door is what points you to the right one. So if you've failed, don't be ashamed. Don't hide, don't run. Lift your head, take a breath, and ask yourself, what did I learn? How can I grow from this? That one question will turn your failure into fuel. There's a powerful kind of confidence that comes from rising after a fall. It's the kind that can't be shaken by criticism or rejection. Because once you've been down and gotten back up, you know you're stronger than anything that tried to break you. That is courage. That is resilience. That is the kind of confidence that no one can give you. But failure can build in you. So take the risk, make the leap, chase the dream. You might fall, but you might fly. And even if you do fall, you'll rise again, better and braver than before. The journey of becoming your best self is paved with missteps, course corrections, and second chances. Embrace every part of it. Let go of the fear of getting it wrong, because the only way to truly fail is to stop trying. You are not your failure. You are not your past. You are not defined by what didn't work out. You are defined by your spirit, your will, your faith, and your refusal to give up. Keep going, keep growing, keep rising. Your comeback is on the way, and when it arrives, it will be greater than anything you ever imagined. There are times in life when everything around you looks uncertain. The path ahead seems foggy, the answers aren't clear, and your emotions are pulling you in all directions. In those moments, confidence doesn't come from what you can see or what you understand. It comes from faith. Faith is believing that even if you can't see the way, there is still a way. Faith is trusting that every step forward, even when it feels shaky, is taking you somewhere purposeful. When you walk by faith and not by sight, you move not because you know every detail, but because you know the one who goes before you. You don't have to feel strong to be strong. You don't have to feel confident to act with courage. That's the mystery of faith. It moves before the feeling arrives. Faith says, I don't see the outcome yet, but I believe something good is unfolding. Faith is not a denial of reality. It is the decision to believe in a deeper reality, one that is shaped by hope, guided by divine wisdom, and grounded in trust. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs happen when you take that first step without a map. You show up even when the odds are against you. You speak when your voice shakes. You act when fear says stay still. And when you do, something shifts. You begin to discover a new kind of confidence, not based on the certainty of circumstances, but based on the strength of your spirit. That is faith in motion. That is courage in action. Confidence doesn't always start with bold declarations. Sometimes it starts with a quiet whisper inside that says, "Keep going." And as you take one step and then another, the confidence grows. Because you realize you didn't fall. You realize God showed up. You realize strength was there all along, waiting to be awakened by your obedience. The truth is, you won't always feel ready. You won't always feel certain. But faith doesn't require you to feel ready. It simply invites you to trust. Every obedient step forward is an act of trust, a declaration that you are guided, supported, and not alone. And with each step, your confidence deepens, not because you suddenly have all the answers, but because you've learned to trust even without them. You were not made to live stuck in hesitation. You were created to walk in bold faith. So move forward even when the path is unclear. Speak life even when you feel weary. Show up even when you feel small, because when you walk by faith, confidence becomes a habit, not a coincidence. It becomes a daily decision to keep trusting, keep stepping, and keep believing that something greater is unfolding, one faithful step at a time. So go forward, boldly, bravely, and with unwavering faith. Because with God on your side, there is nothing you cannot do, no mountain you cannot climb, and no dream too big for you to achieve. Believe, and keep on believing, and the power will be yours.